You're listening to the Sky Lifestyles Coaching Series, helping men all around the world to attract and connect with women on level few men will ever experience. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and visit us at corysky.com.
Hey guys, welcome to the Charming Rogue Same Night Lays interview series. I am your host Adonis. Today on the show I have Cory Sky. Cory has been successful with women for as long as he can remember, and he primarily focuses on inner game. He teaches you how to get rid of negative mindsets and programming that has held you back in the past and causes women to naturally be drawn to you. He is responsible for the Magnetic Mindset program and is an executive dating coach who oftentimes charges $10,000 to $75,000 for one-on-ones. He boasts a 100% success rate. So, without further ado, let's just bring him on the show. Hello, Cory.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Oh, it is a great day today.
How's the weather out there in Vegas?
You know what? It's actually quite beautiful. It was rainy for a couple days, and now skies are clear, and man, this town is just amazing.
Nice.
Well, shit. Let's dive into you and your story. You are a dating coach. And you have always been a natural.
Right.
Well, how did you get started teaching this?
Well, it's actually a long story, but I'll just kind of sum it up in a few words. I was just out doing my typical thing out at a bar, met a girl, we're making out, whatever. We go up, and she wants me to meet her friends, so I go over and to meet her friends, and she's got like probably 4 girlfriends, and there was this one guy standing there, and he just, I don't typically talk to guys when I go out to bars because I'm not going home with guys. So, but this guy had a weird energy about him. It was just different. Something was different about him. So it just drew me to him, and I just started talking to him. And when I got talking to him, he just kept asking me more and more questions about women, and, I love talking about women. I always have, because pretty much that was my entire life. And anybody that would listen was cool because, my friends always got sick of me talking about women all the time. So we started talking about it, and, he's come to find out he was an extremely successful guy, lived here in this town, and he was talking about how he wasn't very good with women, and he never has been. And he just told me, he's like, dude, you got to teach us. And I was like, man, you can't teach this. You got it or you don't. That was really my mindset at that point. Pretty much most of my life, I always had guys coming up and wanting to do something with my ability to meet women, because it was just, it just happened, and all the time it was every time I went out, it was just inevitable that I'd meet the hottest girl in the place. But I just never put 2 and 2 together about teaching it until I met this guy, and he just kept pushing me to teach it. And then he told me about the community and how there's a whole group of guys teaching this stuff. And I was like, wow, super cool. I was like, there's more people like me. Awesome. So, then I started doing my research and looking into the community. And then I met up with him once a week for about a year, and we just talked, and we talked about what I did to try, and he just kept asking me questions over and over, and about a year after I met him, I started teaching, and it's been amazing ever since.
So one of the things that you teach guys that kind of differentiates you from all the other dating coaches out there, and there's a ton of them, is that you get women to approach you. Now, how does a guy do this? Because I've tried to do stuff like this in the past, where I'll just sit there, project alphaness and whatnot, and wait for women to show up, and they don't. So what are the key things that you teach that make this possible?
Well, I mean, there's several different things involved in it. There's actually quite a bit involved in it. One of the main things is your mindset. You have to believe that you're of high value, and without a doubt in your mind that you deserve to have beautiful women in your life. And when you have that mindset and you go out with that mindset, along with the mindset of just simply going out just to have fun and have a good time, you'll be amazed what kind of crazy shit can happen. So I would probably put an 85% of meeting women is through your mindset. And when you have that mindset, you're going to naturally attract women to you. When you walk into a bar, or when I walk into a bar, within the first 5 seconds of walking into that bar, I make such a presence that a girl will notice me, or I'll notice a girl, even though she doesn't notice me, or even though I don't notice her, whatever, vice versa. I know I'm going to be with her.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this presence that you've brought up. What are the elements of presence?
Well, again, it's walking in to a bar like you own it. You are the fucking man. You're not better than anybody else in there. You're just great. You just walk in with an extreme sense of comfort, an extreme sense of confidence. Your body language is solid. Your head is held high. When you hold your head up, your eyelids naturally sink down. Guess what? That's more of a sexy, seductive look. Okay? So when you're gazing the room, when I walk into the room, I'll walk in with my presence, my head is held high, and I'm just walking in, and I'm walking in with a presence, and I got a smile on my face. I got that little, yeah, I know my shit don't stink smirk, let's go have some fun. I've got that smirk. So when you walk in and I see a girl, I go position myself near her. I don't walk right up to her. I'll just go and position myself near her.
One of the problems I would think is that if a guy does that, he's going to be perceived as kind of the creepy guy that sits there and stares at the girl on the dance floor and doesn't ever approach her, and she's wondering, well, if he's looking at me, why isn't he at least coming and talking to me? How do you get out of that trap?
Okay, well, for one, if you're the creepy guy, it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be the creepy guy, whether you approach the girl, whether you're just standing there, whether you're, over in the corner, whether you're ordering a drink. If you're a creepy guy, you're a creepy guy. And you got to work on your own inner stuff so you're not that creepy guy. You've got to learn, you got to become better with your social skills. You've got to, learn how to go out and literally have fun. What makes one creepy, I guess, is the big question that, a lot of people have. Well, it's going into any sort of a venue with a mission or being extremely outcome-oriented. Okay? That alone with, just horrible body language, guys that just go in and stare, when you go out, you need to be gazing the room, not staring. The problem is with a lot of guys is they walk through the world with kind of like with horse blinders on. They've got a one-track mind. They think rationally, logically about everything. And when you do that, you literally bounce from object to object throughout the bar, throughout the park. And you need to learn how to back off a little bit and look at the world with a soft gaze and appreciate where you're at, no matter what you're doing. You've got to have appreciation no matter where you're at, what you're doing, and you've got to just be happy. A lot of guys will go out and they'll go out with and they'll try to put a fake smile on. No, that's bullshit. If you have to go out and you got to try to put a fake smile on, you need to get a life. You need to learn how to go out, have fun, and do things that are exciting. Do things that you're passionate about. Do things that will put a genuine, real smile on your face. Women are emotional beings. If you try to connect with women logically and rationally, it's not going to happen. And the thing is when you learn how to connect with women emotionally, you don't need to know what to say because your eyes speak 1,000 words. All you have to do is look her in the eyes. I was out last night. That's literally all I did. I met this girl, and it actually became extremely creepy because she became way too into me, and she was like just throwing herself at me, and then all the way to the point where she's just like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Basically where she wanted to just go home and have sex, and it was just by all the shit that she did before that was such a turnoff. Give me some competition. Give me a challenge. The thing you need to understand with women is women love a challenge. Give it to them. Don't put everything out on the line so they know everything about you and so, just all the way up front. Let them come after you.
It sounds like you're getting into some deep core identity changes that needs to occur in a guy to really make this stuff work. How does a guy, let's say he's starting from square one, he's terrible with women, he spends most of his time with his only passion, which is World of Warcraft, and he wants to go from that to meeting and attracting the hot girl in the club. How does he get to that level?
Honestly, the beginning levels are, simply self-improvement. Getting out of your head, getting out of your own way, and going out and learning how to live and have fun. Stop staying home on a Friday night playing video games. Stop watching TV all the time. Go out and experience and live your life. The thing is, the question that everyone has to ask themselves is, let's just skip 50 years, and you're sitting on this porch, this old rickety porch. You're retired. You're old. You're dying. The question that you got to ask yourself is, when I'm sitting in that chair, am I going to say, man, I lived a really full, exciting life? Or are you going to say, man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have done that. I wish I could have. Man, I should have done that. You do not want to be that guy. And the only way to do that is simply, the first steps are simply fill up your time with fun. Go out and try new things. A lot of guys that I'll work with, they'll say, I don't know what is fun. I don't know what I like to do for fun. Well, if you don't try new things, you'll never know. Try going skydiving. Go down to the park on a Wednesday evening. Find out what's going on in your community. There's so many public functions. There's so many dance lessons that you can take. You can join yoga classes. You can join, you can volunteer down at the Humane Society. Just get out there. The biggest thing that I can say is my entire life was filled full of fun, exciting, just craziness. I never had time to sit at home and watch TV unless I was with a girl. I never had time to sit down and play video games. I never had time really to relax because I was always going here, I was going there. And the thing is the more you get out, the more you push yourself to get out into the world, the more people you're going to meet, the more social you're going to become, the more friends that are going to say, hey, I'm going to the Bahamas next month. Why don't you come with us? You got to get out of the house and start living. That's my first word of advice. My second is you need to start developing a mindset that is going to work with all your external stuff that you're doing. And I highly recommend my Magnetic Mindset CDs because it really transforms your mindset into doubt. I mean, it goes from doubt and fear into 100% confidence. I know that I'm a sexy motherfucker. I know I can have that girl if I want her. When I see a cute girl, there's not a question in my mind, can I have her? Nah, she's not. Is she out of my league? Whatever. No, that doesn't go through my mind at all, nor does it go through any of my students' minds. It's 100% when. This could be fun.
Since you bring up the magnetic mindset and doing things that are fun, let's talk a little bit about the inner game, the inner mechanics, how to create that internal shift inside that takes a guy from a socially awkward, bad with women type state into being the outgoing, attractive male.
I guess the first step, honestly, we got to let's take a step back. The first step is really figuring out what the fuck do you want. I mean, if it is that you just want to learn a bunch of canned lines and routines and continue living the way you're living, playing your video games and not really having a life, that's fine. But everything that what we're talking about here is becoming the best man that you can be, living your life to the fullest, and actually enjoying every aspect of your life and pretty much living fearlessly. So you got to write down, what do you want? That's the first step. And then I guess the next thing is you have to have an idea of where you're going. What does it look like to be this guy that you want to become? You have to have an idea of what that is. Because it's not really, you're not changing who you are. You're still going to be the same person. You're just going to be a better version. You have, every guy out there has that sexual, desirable guy within him. What you need to do is bring that out and express it to the world. So what is it? What are some qualities of a true ladies' man? They're real. They're authentic. They're genuine. They don't go out looking for anybody else's approval. Okay? They live in the moment. They're not in their head. They're not outcome-oriented. And pretty much they're spontaneous and totally random. Guess what? Women love guys that are totally spontaneous. Women love guys that are totally random.
If you're not a guy who is spontaneous and random, though, and I hate saying this because, everything that you're saying right now, Cory, it makes perfect sense. I see exactly where it's coming from. I guess I'm a little bit confused as to, all that makes perfect sense, and I think when a guy arrives at that point, he'll look back and go, oh, duh. But if he's not there yet, if he hasn't arrived to a point where this makes sense, how does he get to that point?
Okay. Well, what I was just talking about was just some of the characteristics because you have to know where you're going. You have to have the end result in mind. Okay, before you can actually get there.
Okay.
That's why I was talking about that. Little things that you can do to be random. If you're not a random person, if you're not spontaneous, if you just don't think like that, which most guys don't. Most guys don't think outside the box. But guess what? You can learn how to think outside the box. You can learn how to be spontaneous. You can learn how to be random. On your way home from work, instead of taking the same damn route every single time, take a detour. Change things up in your life. Most guys that are pretty much rational about everything, that live their lives like this, they don't know how to be spontaneous and random because they have to have everything organized. They have to have a structure, a set structure on, okay, I work from 8 to 5 every day. I come home, boom, 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 boom. No. Switch things up. The first thing you can do is just switch up your entire schedule. Start doing totally random things. The second thing is, this is about actually enjoying your life and being happy with who you are and loving yourself and being happy and enjoying what you do. So if you got a job that you don't like, get a new job. So many people feel that they are stuck in what they're doing. Well, okay, well, if you are literally stuck, if you're from out of the country and you don't have a green card, you literally cannot change a job, then learn to fucking love your job. You either learn to love it or go find a job that you do love. Because the bottom line is what we do for work consumes a good chunk of our life. So you might as well be happy with what you do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, Cory. Like, if you don't love what you're doing, I mean, you're spending 40 hours a week plus sometimes, and you don't enjoy that, how are you going to get a woman to be excited about you as a person as well if you're not excited about who you are and what you do?
I mean, something basic, is you have to be able to get excited about things. I work with so many guys when they come to me, and they just have zero excitement in their life. I had one guy who's working on a multi-million-dollar project. Basically, the guy's going to be 30 years old. He's going to be a millionaire. And when he talks about it, he's talking about it like this. Yeah, I'm working on this project, this and that, and it's going to be $1 million. Come on, dude, fuck. Get excited about it. Even if you're working a fucking dead-end job, even if you work at McDonald's, get excited about it. A lot of times, I don't like to tell women what I do because it just creates a whole fucking another can of worms, and I don't like to get into it with them. So I'll just tell her I work at McDonald's. The girl says, hey, what do you do? Actually, it's a little bit of a long story, but, right now I'm working over at McDonald's. I'm a burger flipper. But Burger King just contacted me last week. I submitted my application to them 8 months ago, and they finally called me back. And when I go, they said that they would hire me as their company mascot, and all I got to do is do it for 6 months, and then they're going to bump me up to an assistant manager. That's it. Then my life is complete. So basically, just get excited about it. You can say you can work at McDonald's. You can say you work at a car wash. It doesn't matter what you say. Get excited about it. Have fun. You need to express passion. The other thing that, is extremely attractive to women is a guy that has goals, the guy that has aspirations. It's not necessarily the money that women want. It's the desire to have money. It's the desire to become somebody. It's the desire to become better than you are. That is such a turn on to women. And if you're stagnant in your life and you're not bettering yourself and you're not excited about it, how is she supposed to be excited about it? You've got to understand energy, the energy that we project, is really important. If you're just a dull, boring guy, do you really blame a woman for not wanting to go home with you? Come on. Get a life. Have fun. Get excited.
Yeah, I actually saw it was a VH1 special on Skid Row. I mean, a cheesy band like that. And they were interviewing Sebastian Bach, the lead singer's girlfriend or wife. I think they're married now. They've been together since long before he was even famous. And she was talking about how she just saw him on stage. They were playing in some garage. He was living on some guy's couch. Didn't really have a job, had no money, had nothing. But when she saw him on stage, he transformed into this person with just this raw passion. You could tell that he had something that he really wanted to express, and it really drove him to want to succeed. And that was when she knew that she was attracted to the guy, and he had nothing else going for him.
Well, that's just like, most of my life, man. I was broke as a joke. I didn't have much money. I didn't, half the time, I was barely able to even eat because I didn't have enough money. I was eating ramen noodles pretty much my entire life. But I still was able to date doctors, attorneys, successful businesswomen, bankers. How? Because I had that desire to be somebody. I had that passion. I had that excitement. I was spontaneous. I was random. You know, when I turned 25, you know, I pretty much got out of the game, and I was just like, whatever, you know, because it wasn't exciting to me anymore. You know, and now my passion is just watching guys transform. You know, I get more excited about, you know, my guys getting laid than I do. But I found something that I'm passionate about. And that's what you need to look for. That's what every guy needs to look for.
And it also gives a guy a lot of, you know, there's all this talk about routines and all this stuff that, you know, go up and spout this magical line to get her attracted, when really what's going to make her attractive is that you have your own stuff, you have your own thing that you don't even need to, like, have all these lines because your life is so fucking exciting.
You have a life. Yeah, because you have a life and you have your own stories to talk about. You know, the whole thing with the community is basically, you know, it's basically a crutch so you can continue being a fucking loser and not having a life, and you can use other people's stories on how they lived. You know, it's bullshit, dude. It's bullshit. Go out, you know, and make your own stories. Come up with your own exciting, fun things to do. Stop using other people's fun. Stop being a bystander to your own life. Because this is your world. This isn't my world. This is your world. Whoever's listening, this is your world, and you can have whatever you want. Take what's yours. But you have to start living.
Now, we mentioned earlier a little bit about the eye contact game, and I believe you're the only one that teaches this. I don't think any other teacher out there, like, they allude to doing certain things. I've heard of a few that say that they have a little bit on it, but you pretty much are the master of this eye contact game. And so far it sounds like it starts from being the guy who has a fucking life, but where does it go from there?
Well, I mean, it starts from being that guy, having a life, having that good energy, and when you're in a bar or you're in a bookstore and you look across the room, you see a really cute girl, you pretty much know it's on. You express a genuine interest in getting to know that person. She expresses a genuine interest, and it's just a connection. Attraction is not a choice. You know, David D'Angelo talks about it all the time. Attraction is not a choice. Either it's there or not. It's not. Bottom line. You know, so what you do is you put yourself into alignment with what you want and see if it is. If you see a girl at a bar, say, let's just use a bar as an example because, you know, most guys go to bars. So if you see a girl at a bar and you see her from across the room and you're kind of gazing the room and you catch her looking at you, don't look away. When you look away, all that does is it shows insecurity. Don't stare, because staring becomes very awkward. So, it starts with learning how to gaze, how to have that soft gaze. You know, when you're gazing the room, you see a cute girl, you lock eyes, the connection's there, wow. Well then, the thing is, the reality of it is, yeah, she might be physically hot, but you know nothing about her. Who knows? She might be a drug addict, prostitute. So are you going to put your heart and soul on the line and say, oh, my God, I'm going to have this girl. I got to have this girl. No. Take a chance. Take a risk. Go up, position yourself 10 feet away from her. That's your move. Kind of like chess. You make your move 10 feet away from her. And you position yourself where you can kind of like still gaze the room. You're not being socially awkward. You know, you just gaze in the room. Then she has to make her move. And then she'll just happen to either be standing right next to you, or she'll just happen to excuse herself from her friends to walk to the bathroom. Even though it's on the other side of the room, she'll just happen to walk right by you and brush up against you. Well, guess what? That's your move. You made her your move. She made hers. Okay? If you're standing at a bar, or if you see a cute girl at a bar, walk up and stand right next to her and order a drink. If you don't want to order a drink, grab a napkin. If you don't want to grab a napkin, grab a pack of matches. Either way, you're going up there for something else. Yes, obviously, you're going to go up there just to see if there's a connection between you and her. But so you go up and you order a drink, and then you just kind of turn over and say, hey, what's going on? And that's it. And either it's there or it's not there. You know, and a lot of it comes down to your tone of voice, your confidence, your belief. You know, if you're going over there and you say, if you walk up to a girl and you just stand in there and you look over and say, hey, how you doing? It's awkward. Lower your tone of voice. The other thing with your tone of voice is it creates anxieties within you. The higher pitch, higher tone of voice you have, it will create anxieties. You don't want to have anxieties. You want it to be exciting to go up and meet a new girl. You don't want it to be work. Meeting women is easy. It's fun. It's exciting.
One of the things that I read about on your blog is that you think that approach anxiety is really bullshit. It doesn't exist, and it's something that's been created. And I think there's a lot of guys out there probably listening to this that would come back and say, well, yes, it is, because I feel it. Can you explain a little bit more on your views on approach anxiety?
A lot of people just put way too much pressure on approach anxiety. The bottom line is the biggest thing to kill approach anxiety is you are, for one, you get the mindset. You walk in with a presence. You're having a good time. If you're walking into a bar without a mission or without looking for an outcome, you're not going to have any anxieties. So you need to change your whole mindset and what are you doing? Are you going there to have a good time, or are you going there for the sole purpose to meet women? Because if you're going there for the sole purpose to meet women, those anxieties are going to be within you before you even step in the fucking door. And once you're there, yeah, okay, so once you're there, you still kind of have them because your old program, your old mindset. Okay, something that you can do for it. Simply just, if there's a doorman at the bar, say, hey, what's going on? How are you? If you get to the bar and there's just some old man sitting next to you, hey, what's going on, dude? How you doing? If you're at a bookstore, start talking to the clerk. Boom, boom, boom. You just eliminate any sort of anxieties by simply talking. The longer you get into a venue and you don't say a word, the more that anxiety is going to build. That's not approach anxiety. That's social anxiety. That's being uncomfortable in social environments. And you need to learn how to flirt and have fun with everyone. Guys, girls that you aren't attracted to. You need to learn how to talk, have fun, and flirt with everyone. I don't talk to an extremely hot girl any different than I talk to an extremely ugly girl that I'm not attracted to. The only difference is the attraction through my eyes that I have with her.
Talking to a lot of different people, I actually noticed that for myself, is that the more I talk, the more I get warmed up, and the more I get warmed up, the more it flows. If you want to have a really rough night, or one of the things that you can do is just sit on your computer all day and then go out and just immediately the first person that you see or the first attractive woman you see, just go approach there and not warmed up. That oftentimes is, I guess the problem is that they're not warmed up at all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Compliment people. Walking down the street, if you see a pair of shoes that you like, compliment the person. Giving a person a compliment makes you feel good inside. Don't expect a response from them. You know, one of the biggest things too that creates like that anxiety and the frustration is just being in your head and thinking too much. You know, the best way to eliminate that is just to stop, get out of your fucking head. Start being in the moment. And that begins with just enjoying where you're at, enjoying who you are, no matter what you're doing. If you're okay with that and you're comfortable with that and you're comfortable with yourself, those around you are going to be comfortable. Women are going to be comfortable. Typically, when you get into a situation with a girl and she gets all bent out of shape, it's your fault. It's your fault because you started thinking that whatever the situation was not right. If you don't think that having sex on the first night, is right, and if you don't think it's okay, then it's not going to be okay. If you don't think that dating multiple women is okay, then it's not going to be. But if you see absolutely nothing wrong with it, and you're 100% comfortable and confident dating 4 women at a time, then guess what? The women around you are going to be okay with it as well. But as soon as you start bringing up any doubt or any question that it's not morally right or I can't do that, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when you're not going to have it.
For example, with my book, the biggest key shift that I try to give guys is that same-night lays are possible. Like, most guys don't even think that's even within the realm of possibility. I've had it happen within just a couple minutes, and really the only key difference that I have is that I know it's possible. I know it can be done, and it has happened because of that.
Absolutely. Which goes back to the mindset, that we were talking about. You know it's possible. Even before, you still believed that it was, before you did it, you believed that it was possible. You believed that you deserved it. A lot of guys don't feel that they deserve to have many women. A lot of guys have a lot of negative programming based on religion. The whole sex before marriage, the whole, every religion's different, but everybody's got, their own belief system. But you have got to be 100% liberal and open to sex. You've got to be comfortable with your own sexuality. If you're not comfortable with your own sexuality, if you're not comfortable with your body, then the girl's not going to be either. You can naturally bring out those nasty, dark, dirty secrets that every woman has. You can naturally pull that out of them without saying a fucking word if you're extremely comfortable and open with your own sexuality.
Well, let's back up a few steps then, and let's talk about creating those beliefs. What are some techniques or some things that a guy can do to create those beliefs inside him that, yes, he's sexy, yes, he's deserving of attractive women, yes, he can get with women really quickly, or whatever his goals are?
Well, one of the first things that you can do, I've got, in my CD program, I've got 4 different ways that you can really start reprogramming your mind. But another one that, we can talk about that's simple is every time that you get into a situation where let's just say you see a really cute girl and a million negative thoughts start going through your mind. Oh, I'm too old, I'm too fat, she's way out of my league. Pretty much most guys have one of these or not. One of these or another one. There's so many negative beliefs that can trigger as soon as you see a really cute girl. Okay, as soon as you do that, be consciously aware of your thought process, your emotions. Okay, when you're feeling, what do you feel when you see a cute girl? Is it tense? Is it anxiety? Well, that emotion, that feeling is an emotion. The emotions are stemmed from your thought process. Pay attention. Be conscious. The next time you're out, be conscious of your thought process. What are the thoughts? What are the actual thoughts? Okay, let's just use one as an example. She's way out of my league. Okay, what you do is if you address that and you're consciously aware and you realize, okay, that's one of the thoughts, replace that thought with a positive thought. She's out of my league. It's a negative thought. Replace it with, I am the man. I am a sexy motherfucker, and I do deserve to have beautiful women just like that in my life. And that's just one of, hundreds, thousands of different things that you can do. You've got to replace those old negative thoughts. Catch them. Don't fuel the fire. Don't sit there and not be aware of what's happening in your fucking mind. The human mind is the most powerful fucking machine on the planet. Use it. Learn to control what's happening.
There's so many guys out there that are completely unaware of what's even going on in their mind. So it doesn't surprise me in the least bit when they get out there that they don't know what to do. They're not even sure what's going on inside them in the first place. Of course they're not going to know what to do next.
Well, all they know is they feel this feeling of anxiety. Well, and that feeling of anxiety, that's an emotion. That's which is triggered by your thoughts. That's a feeling which is triggered by your thoughts. Change your fucking thought process. That's where everything stems from. Everything you do stems from a thought, an initial thought. So for all the listeners, start being aware of your thoughts. If you have a bad feeling, if you got a really uncomfortable gut feeling when you walk into a bar, try to really pay attention to what your thought process is. And break it down. Write them out. You get home from a bar, write out all the things, reflect back on the night and write down maybe there was 3 different times throughout the night where you just really felt bad. Write it out. What are your thoughts? And when you have those thoughts written down, they're visible, they're physically in front of you on paper, then change those with positive, affirming thoughts. And now, when the next time you go out, if you get that feeling again, then you can run through all those positive thoughts that you wrote down to change that belief system.
Well, Cory, it's been awesome having you on the show. There's some stuff guys can be doing right now. A lot of things they can be working on themselves, creating that passion and all of that, and most importantly, getting out of their fucking houses. So I appreciate you coming on the show.
Actually, I want to touch on that. One more thing. I had this guy come to Vegas. He flew me out to Vegas to work with him for a couple of days. And when I got to Vegas, I started working with him. I started talking to him. Oh, what do you do? What's your day look like? Well, I go to, he was one of the big performers in a show out there. So he only worked like 4 hours a day, from like 6 p.m. to like 10 p.m. And he said, okay, so what do you do throughout the day, since you're not working? Oh, well, I do this and that, and I got a lot of stuff going on. And then I said, okay, well, what do you do after you get home? He says, oh, well, I got to go home. I got to go home immediately after I work because I got to walk my dog. So I said, well, what do you usually do after that? He's like, well, I'll get on the computer and play a little bit, or just surf around, or I'll watch TV. Come on, dude. How the fuck do you think you're going to meet women like that? And then he's going to pay me to fly across the country to tell him to get out of his house? Come on. It's common sense. Just get out.
It's amazing how much of this stuff is just so common sense, so duh. Get out of your house. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first step.
I had a friend who was like that, where I think he honestly thought that one day a supermodel was going to knock on his door and be like, I want to have your babies right now. And that was how it was going to happen for him. He believed in that whole fairy tale story where someday it's just going to happen by some act of serendipity. To this day, he's older and he's a virgin. Should I be surprised? Not at all.
Yeah.
Let's get up. Well, it's definitely been a pleasure having you on the show, Cory.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely grateful.
Tune in next time for more from Sky Lifestyles. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and visit us at corysky.com.